Hello, students. Today we are going to talk about a literary term, and the literary term is heroic couplet. Heroic couplet is written in iambic pentameter lines, which are rhymed in pairs. It means that the last sound of the last word in a line of heroic couplet rhymes with is matched by the last sound of the last word of the succeeding line. Heroic couplet was a favorite meter of Geoffrey Chaucer, which he used in the Legend of Good Women as an example. For example, and this verse form did not come into its greatest popularity until the middle of the 17th century. Because in 17th century, heroic couplet was revived by John Dryden, who made this verse form well known and accepted. He used heroic couplet in Tyrannic Love in 1669 and then again in a poem Aurangzeb in 1675. And his example was followed with his follower Alexander Pope, who used the heroic couplet so much so that the use of heroic couplet is often in English literature is associated with Alexander Pope. And his use became so important that its influence dominated English verse for many years. During the neoclassical period, heroic couplet was a favorite device of poets and writers, and as an example of the heroic couplet, we can read the following lines. But when to mischief mortals bend their will, how soon they find fit instruments of ill. Here we can clearly see that the sound of the last word will is matched, it rhymes with the sound of the last word of the succeeding line ill. So will and ill, they rhyme together. And iambic pentameter here means that an unstressed syllable is followed by a stressed syllable. There is no stress on but on when, and then there is no stress on to, the stress falls on mischief. Likewise, an unstressed syllable is followed by a stressed syllable, and these are iambic lines, and there are 5 feet, so that is why it is called pentameter. So that is why the meter, which is often used in English poetry, the meter which has been frequently used is iambic pentameter. Now let's elaborate it. As I've already said, that heroic couplet is a rhymed pair of iambic pentameter lines. And we have also talked that it was John Dryden who revived it, and he used it in his heroic drama. He wrote a number of plays and number of drama in which he used this couplet during the 17th century, and his precedence was followed by his follower Alexander Pope. And Alexander Pope is known for his closed couplets. Closed couplets means that the sense of the lines is complete before it reaches the end, before the couplet ends. And then the importance of heroic couplet declined during in the early 19th century, and it was no longer used. Some other examples of heroic couplet can be seen from his An Essay on Man, which is also prescribed. on the syllabus of BA first year. A few couplets can be seen here. Know then thyself, presume not God to scan. The proper study of mankind is man. So scan and man rhyme together. Placed on this isthmus of a middle state, a being darkly wise and rudely great. So state and great, they rhyme together. With too much knowledge for the skeptic side, with too much weakness for the stoic's pride. So side and pride, they rhyme together. And there are 5 feet in every line, so it is pentameter, and because every unstressed syllable is followed by a stressed syllable, that is why it is iambic meter. So a couple of lines which rhyme together and which are written in iambic pentameter is called a heroic couplet. So this was our literary term, heroic couplet. I hope you got the point. Thank you for listening.